Hey traders. Been a while since I did a video and I thought I'd do a live trade in front of you guys. We have a data release coming out um, in about 6 minutes from now, and I like to trade this data release on the Canadian dollar for a couple of reasons. Number one, we have wholesale sales, and it looks like it's going to be a fairly benign number, but you can see that this data really is all over the place, which means there's a high probability for a miss on this data one way or the other, and it should create some volatility. Then right after this, we have existing home sales in the United States at 10 o'clock. So it's kind of, I get a double shot at this. I can trade it around the 8:30 data, then I'll get a little bit of kick on the US CAD data a little bit later if I don't get it right. Hopefully we will get it right. Now, that being said, it is a bit more difficult of a trade. I do not have a clear directional bias, which one I want to be buying, which one I want to be selling, but it is going to be a correlation trade. And rather than put the trade on before the data, I'm going to wait to see what happens after the data. Now, I'm going to see the initial reaction right after the data. Now, ideally, what I think I would like to happen the most is I'd like the correlation between these two to be skewed to the upside. Now, what that means is I want the difference between the two contracts to go higher, right? So I'd like the difference, if we take the difference between the two contracts, right? You guys take a look here. So right now we have 1.6960 subtract 1.2810. So that's just the difference between the two contracts, okay? If I take the current price of the two contracts, and so that's 0.41, 0.4150, okay? Now, what I'd actually like that to do is, it's actually negative 0.4150. But what I'd actually like that to do, because we're doing this over this, I'd like that to go to somewhere around negative 0.4080. Okay, so 0.408. Okay, so that's what I'd like it to do before I put the trade on, and I'll see that in the actual price movement. Okay, so we're just going to wait here. We got a couple of minutes left before this data comes out, and then on the spike, I would like to, ideally, if it moves up higher, I would like to ideally sell the CAD and buy the pound CAD. That's kind of the plan. We'll have to see here. So I'm just going to pause the video. I'll come back. Now remember, we could do the opposite. We could be selling the pound CAD and buying the dollar CAD. We'll have to see what happens, because if this correlation breaks down, I want to buy it. So there's actually two trades here. There's a sell dollar CAD, buy GBP CAD, and there's a buy dollar CAD, sell GBP CAD. So we'll have to see how that correlation pans out in the next couple of minutes. I'm going to pause the video. We'll come back to it. Okay, so here we go. We got about a minute here before this, 30 seconds here before this data comes out. I still there's a chance I might buy this and sell this. I just want to see if there's a big variance in the data, and we'll just have to see what happens with this data in a second here. And here we go. CAD wholesale, and it should be there. And the market is not really moving very much. And this piece of, there we go. Oh, big variance. Not, wow. Bad, 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 bad. Okay, that's pretty interesting. I think this is going to open up an opportunity right now. Not a real big move in this just yet. So I don't see any real reason to just jump right in here. But I do think it's going to open up a really nice opportunity. And you can see they're pretty much moving together for the most part. There's a little gap here on both of these. This is not the greatest trade to do a live trade on, but it is pretty much the only trade today. It's a fairly slow week, being Thanksgiving. So I'm just going to pause this video and I will come back to it if I see anything here, but so far really isn't anything worth trading here at all. Okay, traders, so it's been about 15 minutes since I started looking at this potential trade here, and literally nothing has happened, and nowhere near what I was looking to happen has happened. And I was thinking, I'll just scrap this video and, we'll just move on to something else. But then I started thinking to myself, you know what? Maybe there is a good lesson in this video. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized, yeah, there is a great lesson in this video. So what exactly is the lesson that Steve is talking about? Well, as I mentioned earlier today, we had one data release coming out, and then we had a 10 o'clock data release coming out. And really, other than that, it's pretty much a pretty benign day. There is a big variance on this, which is still interesting to me. And also, there was a big variance on the GBP earlier, which is why I chose the GBP CAD trade, in case you guys were wondering. What do I mean by variance? I mean the expectation versus the actual outcome was pretty huge of a difference, right? And the same with the GBP up here. It was not a big difference, but there was a difference, okay? So in case you guys were wondering, why did Steve choose the GBP CAD? Because there was a variance in the data. And whenever you have variance, it creates market inefficiency. And whenever you have market inefficiency, you have opportunity. Okay, what I just said there, if you can grasp those words, and I'll repeat it to you right now. Whenever you have variance in fundamental data, expectation versus actual, it creates market inefficiency. And when you have market inefficiency or adjustment, you get rich. Let that sink in. So that's the first lesson. Okay, now the second lesson is just because opportunity could exist doesn't mean that it will exist either immediately or shortly. But what I was expecting was a big difference in the reactions since the data between these two assets. And it really didn't give it to me. As you can see, they've pretty much moved during this 30-minute candle right here. They've pretty much moved exactly the same. One did not do something more than the other one. And that's what I was looking for. Okay? So, the second lesson, if you're watching this, and there's just gold in this right now, is to understand you need to have a way of quantifying whether you should take a trade. So you have a trade idea or opportunity, but just because you have that doesn't mean you should be taking a trade. You need to have a quantifiable way of measuring is my idea or my thesis about opportunity actual reality, right? So it didn't happen, right? So I know, at least for now, there's no trade for me right now. Now, I want to show you guys something else. In my younger days, since I have nothing else really going on right now, and it's Thanksgiving week in the United States, which is going to basically affect the US dollar, but it could affect other pairs to a lesser degree. But Thursday is going to be a holiday, right? Am I right about that? I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. Thursday is going to be a holiday for the United States, and this week is going to be very low volatility, and I really don't have too many trades working. Actually, I have some Aussie trades working. So really, it's going to be a very slow week for me. Now, how many of you just turn on your computer and start looking for trades regardless of situations, right? I used to be like that. And when I stopped being like that, when I started to say, look, I can only trade when I have quantifiable edges, I became far more happy and far more successful at this business. So even though there is no trade here, there is a tremendous learning opportunity. Okay, and the opportunity is twofold. Well, I just went through the opportunities. Even if you need to make money because you have to pay your bills, you can't force the market to do things. You just have to accept objectively what's happening. Did I see any big difference in what these two 30-minute candles have done? Nah, pretty much exactly the same. I needed to see a big difference between these two 30-minute candles for me to basically have any edge in this particular thesis or idea of what the market's going through. So I'm going to post this video because there is gold in it if you listen to it carefully. If you listen to this video carefully, I promise you I'm giving you absolute diamonds. Okay? Bye for now. Oh, by the way, one more thing. Happy Thanksgiving! Bye for now.